brothers and sisters, Mrs. and Misters, lawnmowers, and churchgoers. My name is Dobie Maxwell, along with my award-winning partner, Max Baumgardner. We are the Dented Cast. Thanks for being here. Today's episode, the G word, but it's capital G. It is?
It's God.
This is a big one.
Who exists.
We're going to make some friends and some not-so-friends today.
I don't know. Why do you say that?
Because we're going to be on both sides of the fence. Someone's going to like what you're saying, someone's going to not like what I'm saying, and vice versa, and vice versa.
What do you think on this topic?
You know, I want to be respectful in this. That's one thing I think people that watch our show for any amount of time know is I love you personally. You're the brother from another mother I never had, and I know you feel that way about me. And whatever disagreements that we have, the whole purpose of this show is to speak in an intelligent manner. You make your points, I make my points, and we'll let the listeners make their mind. I cannot believe I'm saying this. I do not believe there is a God. I'm waiting for the thunderbolt to clap me from the heavens, and I was trained and programmed from the earliest age, forced churched. If you'd have told me I said that as a kid, I think I would take a straight water slide right to the bowels of Hades. But I truly believe that as an adult. I don't think there is a God, or at least the God image we are taught as children. How do you feel?
I think there is a God, and I don't think it's the image that we're taught as children. In fact, I don't think there is an image. That's the other thing. So I don't believe it's a man necessarily, a balding man with the white beard that has clouds for pants. I don't think that's not
sitting at the
either.
big desk.
Right, exactly.
By St. Peter at the Golden Gates, and that's that whole cartoon image that is put into us by probably Madison Avenue somewhere.
Yeah.
And it could not be any further from the truth. Do you think this is something that you have acquired recently, or did you always believe in God? Have you changed in your views in your life? I've done a 180, and I can't believe it. My grandpa told me as a kid, this is all bullshit. There's no pie in the sky. He goes, explore every religion. Go to church. He took classes in world religion. He goes, it's all bullshit. And I thought, oh, my gosh, Grandpa needs to drink some holy water, pray, do something for him. And one day I woke up, and he was absolutely right.
He is Jewish, or was Jewish.
He was a non-practicing. His family was Russian Jewish, but he never went to synagogue. And my grandmother, who they were married for how many years, was a lifelong Catholic. He was never a Catholic, and she fell away from the Catholic Church, and she was 58 years old when she did, and she went to different churches, and she discovered the Holy Rollers Church and got me involved so I wouldn't be like my father. So the church bus came around on Sunday mornings. We go to church, and then there was a scout group for boys as 9 or 10 years old, and on Wednesday nights, and we play baseball and go camping and stuff like that, and that was really fun. And I really got involved in church at a young age, but it wasn't the Catholic church. But then I went to a Catholic school, so I got a little experience. Now, what about you? How did you grow up? Catholic?
No, we grew up Creasters.
Creasters?
We went on Christmas and Easter.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
So, and then that was to different churches, you know. Mm-hmm. And that my dad would, on Christmas Eve, my brother and I would make fun of this even as kids, but my dad would want to, on Christmas Eve, hold hands in his little dingy apartment and say a prayer on Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. Now, I look back on that now with fondness.
Really?
I do.
How so?
He was making an attempt.
Okay.
He was making an attempt. And I make fun of him. So.
What would you mind? What was his prayer about? Was it about himself?
It was superfluous. It was an ATM. It was him treating God like, help us have the great Christmas and thank you for all those kind of things. It was never anything where he would pray for something that was going on in someone else's life or ask God to show him how he could help somebody else. Mm-hmm. Be more like you, God. What can I do for somebody else? It was always focused on how he would benefit. That's what his prayers were. And I think most people, when they pray, I don't know what most people think. Let me take that back. I would venture to guess there are a lot of people that look at God as getting something. Please, God, let me get that car. Please let me get that job. Please let me get that girl.
Mommy, Daddy, can I go to McDonald's for my birthday?
Right.
Can we get that bag of Oreos in the grocery store?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't personally believe that has anything to do with God at all.
Okay.
I don't. I believe that there is a God going all the way back to cause and effect. Basic scientific theory, cause and effect.
Okay.
Okay. So this all just happened? I'm asking you, did this all just happen, just randomly happen? And we're able to consciously think about this?
That's the thing. I think something is missing. We think all these things, and it's almost like we were a transplanted species here on this planet. There is beauty, there is structure. There is, the trees grow and the temperature is the right way to grow food for human species, and the animal kingdom is all interactive. Granted, it's a big lunchbox. This species eats that species. It just doesn't seem that a God that we're preached to is all love makes creatures that eat each other and that die and have the same faults as the last previous infinite amount of generations. When you and I are taught to get better, when we make something, we improve. Oh no, do better this time. Before you turn your homework in, correct it, make it better. But God, if there is one, that creates these species, still makes people that are sick, hating each other, all these quirky things inside, and then never reports to us. There's not an email, gman1 at AOL.com. He talked to us 2,000 years ago in the these and the thous, which wasn't even the right language that it was made in. But then someone goes in there. My dad used to go to church and pray in the thee, thou, thy, thon. And wait a minute. You're talking Old English. You grew up in Milwaukee, and the same thing. Make these flowery prayers, and oh, Lord. And thinking, man, this looks like Billy Graham incarnate here. And then come home and beat the shit out of everybody, including the dog. And those things happen over and over and over again. It all adds up. It's like, I'm not a lawyer, but something's off. Something's fishy. I'm Ellery Queen, looking around with my big magnifying glass, looking for a clue as to where the missing link is. Did you believe in Santa Claus when you were a kid?
Of course.
Did you believe it with all your heart?
I don't know.
I did.
Okay.
That fat bastard is going to bring me my racing set. And same thing like God or like parents, Santa, you big red bastard, I have to eat broccoli, which I don't like, but if you'll get me a racing car set, that's what I'll do. And then as I got older, I looked at some of the tags that were to from Santa. It's like, wait a minute, that handwriting, I know that handwriting. You know what I'm saying? It's the clues came together, and then something came. It's like, boy, this doesn't work. And then I got a little older, and I started watching professional wrestling on TV. And I thought those guys really hated each other, and the good guys and the bad guys. And then I found out that, wait a minute, this might be a little bit fishy too. And life seems to come in threes, and then the whole God thing seems to be the same way. It's like, boy, got screwed there too. And I don't want to think that way, Max. I wish there was a benevolent God, and I wish it was fair. But something stinks in Denmark somewhere. I don't know what it is.
I think you could argue that both ways, though.
Okay, that's why we're here.
I do. I think that just from a basic standpoint of like our body.
Mm-hmm. A lot of miraculous stuff goes on there.
Right. Have you been with somebody when they die? When they've died? Like,
Not the ones I wanted to.
But have you ever been with somebody when they passed away?
Right as they passed away?
Right.
2 or 3.
Okay. Any feeling from that?
Any feeling?
Or how did you feel, I should say?
I was a kid at the time. I didn't know how to put it together.
Okay.
It wasn't anybody I was close to. It was a distant relative. Does that make sense? It was like a third aunt, some kind of thing. And then I didn't really have any feelings. I know the grown-ups were all upset. And I didn't know the person. Mm-hmm. I'm just being honest.
Okay, so
how about you?
Is it absolutely? Is it possible that you didn't understand?
Yes, no question about it.
Okay,
I think
I have as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Something changes. I believe that this body that we have, I believe we have a responsibility to take care of it, which a lot of people don't. I also believe that consciousness is my proof in God. Consciousness. Because nobody can explain consciousness. You can't explain it. Nobody can explain it. There's a lot of theories, but there are no explanations for consciousness at all. Zero.
So why, if there isn't a God, why wouldn't he say, look, you're my kid, your heavenly father, This is what consciousness is. Live your life. Be good. Wouldn't you do it? If this big God came in the sky and said, you, be nice to you. Yes, Dad.
Well, he did. He did say, you be nice to you.
Okay, all right.
He did.
All right. This is in some big fat book that, if he's all powerful, couldn't he just once a year, once every 10 years, hey, behave down there. I'll turn this solar system around.
What's a year?
In our consciousness?
Right.
Spin of
Right.
the world.
In our consciousness. Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right. That's a year. What's time?
I don't know that either.
Do you think that time is easily understood in the Bible? Like
They talked about it all the time.
like a 90-year-old woman giving birth?
Well, if you did, I read the
Okay.
Bible at age 13. I'm
Okay.
not saying I know all about it, but I read it. I know a lot about it. I know there's some people that are ministers that haven't read the Bible all the way through. And there's a lot of stuff in there that talks about, Methuselah was this many years old, and the history was completely different. It was completely different 10 years ago, 5 years ago, than it was 2,000, 3,000 years ago.
Right.
So I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah. Okay.
A 90-year-old woman maybe wasn't 90 years old in our terms.
That's what I'm saying. So we can agree on that.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
There's something else too just like with bacteria. Bacteria, there's no brain, right? At all.
I don't believe in bacteria either. No.
But they will avoid certain things because their goal is to keep going.
Okay.
How is there not a creator for that? That's my question. How is there not a creator for that? How does an ant, when you're walking, how does an ant know to walk away from you? You know, how does an ant know to store up food? Ants, how do they know that? Seriously, that's just one example of literally millions of examples.
There is an ant manual, which is about this big. You just go through the pages, store food, or you will starve.
How do birds know all at the same time to turn without communicating?
That is passed down through generations.
Okay.
I have no idea. It's called instinct. Call it whatever you want to. My point
Where
is,
does that come from?
I don't know, Max.
I don't think anyone does. And that mystery, where does space end? You know, how is it that it's organized? It's not just our interpretation. How is it that space is organized?
How is space organized? Outer space?
Well, there are systems that we've assigned to it, okay? But it was already organized before. We didn't organize it. We're just recognizing an organization.
You're talking
Just
about like solar systems, like
Yeah.
galaxies?
Yeah,
like,
we didn't organize that. We couldn't.
Right. We can't get our own stuff together in one little tiny pea
Right.
of a planet.
Exactly. How, for instance, like DNA, they have recognized an order for DNA. Who put the order there? That's the thing that really, it's hotly contested, and people who are way more intelligent than me, and that doesn't take much. They can verbalize these thoughts. They can write about them and make sense of them, but nobody knows for sure. The people that don't believe and the people that believe, there isn't any real conclusive evidence that there is not a God. There is no conclusive evidence.
And I don't think there's any conclusive evidence that there is a God. And I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm not saying anything, but I look at those things that you pointed, which were very valid points. And who made that? Does it have to be made? Maybe it was a Big Bang Theory. I don't know. It doesn't affect us on this planet now, which is completely in disarray and turmoil. And you think if there's a God that is smart enough and all-powerful and omnipotent to make all those things that you talked about, you think he'd say, hey, you assholes, get your shit together.
I agree with you there. Too.
And there's something wrong.
But that's assuming this is it.
This is it in, what do you mean?
Like this life that we live on this planet is all there is. That's putting that in that context in my mind. You know, you just said that there's turmoil everywhere in the world.
In this world.
And I don't understand suffering like famine and for people that not only don't know God, never will, don't have the concept at all, and are born into extreme poverty, which, by the way, is less and less in today's world instead of more and more like most people believe. There is conclusive evidence for that. There are facts that back that up, okay? We don't have to get too far in the weeds on that. Simple Google search will tell you that is happening, that it is getting better instead of worse. The news tells us it's getting worse. Everything you read tells us it's getting worse.
I don't know if I believe the news or everything I read either. I guess I'm being a skeptic in my old age.
We agree on that and that as
But
well.
you think if we're his children, allegedly, like we're told, all right, kids, look, you're screwing up a little bit. Come let dad hear. You need some money, here's some money. You don't have to worry about it, all the stress, all the disease. Mm-hmm. I love you, but I unleashed this pandemic on the world and I killed all these people, but you still owe me 10% of your income because I'm God and I'm broke. I could create the universe, but I don't have any money, so you give the money to your church and they'll take care of it. That is complete flaming shit.
I understand.
Holy shit.
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
And would you agree with this? Not all people in religion and churches are evil, but many evil people are attracted to that forum because it is easy to shear the sheep of sincere people that do believe and get screwed.
What am I agreeing with?
I don't know, but you should agree. I'm saying there's some evil. There's some roosters in the hen house.
Yes, of course.
In all religions, not just. We're not just talking about Christian here.
And I'm not talking about religion here.
You're talking about God.
I'm going to start talking about religion, but I'm talking about God.
God, I got you. Okay, talk about religion.
My proof in my little tiny pea brain, very average intelligence and probably below average education. My proof is consciousness. Simple. That's my proof that there's a God, because we all have that. All humans have that. We have consciousness. There's debates on whether animals, any other animal, has consciousness. There's debates on that. They have feelings. For instance, like elephants, for example, when, I don't know what you would call a baby elephant. Is it a calf? I don't know Dumbo. I don't know what you would call a baby elephant. Okay. But a baby elephant, when an elephant passes, they've got video of the mother of that particular elephant mourning. Very sad, okay? Wanting to drag it back to life, wanting to bring it back to life. Dolphins.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so they're those are feelings and those are levels of consciousness.
Many monkey species.
Right.
Dogs and cats have personalities. There's something there.
Right. There is something there. What is that? Where did that come from? That's my point. And I am not... Maybe I'm not smart enough, but I'm not willing to admit that it just happened. To me, it was created. It was absolutely 100% created. And I understand your point and recognize your point about saying, well, why the suffering? Why no communication? And I still think there's a bigger plan. I really do. I still think when someone takes their life, that's a bad thing. I really do think.
Have you thought about it?
Many times.
Me too.
As you and I have discussed.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which is the reason we're dented cans, which is the reason we're doing this. And if you're thinking about doing that, please do not do that. We'll put the suicide hotline up here. My daughter warned me about us talking about these things. And she said they're triggers for people. And so we're not trying to trigger you into something like that. Please make a call.
Our whole idea is to recognize those triggers and turn it into a positive.
Right. Right.
Pull that trigger, it takes 1 second, you know, and sometimes the pain is so much and make a rash decision. Sometimes you have to slow down and think a little bit.
I believe that there is more to this on every level than any of us realize.
What do you think? We have comments down if you think one of us is full of shit. Maybe we both are. I have no idea, but I'm interested in what you think. And again, I don't think I'm right. I don't think Max is wrong. I don't know a lot of things. My gut feeling is if I have to bet, it ain't happening.
All right. Well, I've got some examples.
Let
here.
it go.
All right. Here we go. So, whatever begins to exist must have a cause for existence. Do you believe that or not believe that? Do you think that's bullshit?
That seems like a lot of says nothing. Say that in English terms.
Whatever begins to exist. So something like
glass of water.
Glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
God made this
water. It's got
water.
to have a cause for his existence, right? I mean, somebody had to make the glass. We had to get the water from somewhere. It didn't just poof appear like that,
Correct.
right?
Okay.
Okay. So, how did the universe begin to exist?
If I knew that, we wouldn't be doing a podcast. I would be smoking a pipe, banging college girls on every campus in America, because I would be propagating my God-given right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I don't know.
Right. I know.
And it doesn't matter, because if we are here, what matters is I'm hurting. You're hurting. The world is hurting.
I'm hurting less, by the way.
Well, I'm getting the pain you lost, and my other ass cheek is wiggling because it's painful. And all the problems that we're having in this generation, there's been World War I and World War II and the Peloponnesian Wars thousands of years ago, and all the people stabbing in the mongrel hordes, and they didn't learn, and they died, and the next generation came up, and they were just as fucked up as the generation before. And if there is a God who's cranking out product, he's cranking out gremlins and Yugos and pieces of shit when he could be making Lamborghinis and Bugattis and Bentleys and Rolls Royces. And you look at the top people, not just physically attractive and athletics, LeBron James. He's 6'9" and he can run fast. And it's like, okay, you're a pretty athletic dude. I wanted to be a baseball player. 5'9", Caucasian. Yes, I'm a left-handed pitcher. That's all given to you. God could be making Michael Jordans athletically and all these good-looking people and could have this master super race that doesn't hate each other. But nope. Doesn't happen that way. There's bad breath and zits and overweightness and sleep apnea and bullshit and pain, and I don't see a reason for it.
You don't see a reason for it?
No, I don't see a reason for any of it.
But do you see a reason for perfection?
Yes.
What is the
Yes.
reason for perfection?
Because if we're made in God's image, if he is perfect like we're told, we are made in his image to give him pleasure of perfection. I'm perfect. I made you. We worship you. Thanks for this life. I'm going to go bang those college girls now.
Okay, well, let me ask you. What about free will?
This is the cop-out of all things.
Okay.
I remember asking questions. What about it? It's free will. Okay, it was God's free will to unleash a pandemic. It's free will. Okay.
God didn't unleash the pandemic.
Who did then?
Well, it depends on what kind of facts you want to take in.
Why did he allow it?
But can we agree that it started in China?
From what I read in here,
And
that's
it
what I
was
think.
Man-made?
Okay, well, I don't want to open up this whole thing.
Okay, well-
Allegedly, the story you hear is what some guy in the bit of bat, and it shut down the whole world for a year. Okay, that makes Santa sound believable. A fat guy in a red suit and a flying sled's going to squeeze his fat ass down the chimney to bring me baseball cards.
Well, that was courtesy of the Germans, by the way, that whole concept.
Well,
but-
they had a lot of red marks.
They make
got
great
German
cars.
blood. Make great cars, great strudel. They had some faults.
Right, they did.
That's the thing too. So okay, we celebrate diversity, all these ethnic groups on the planet, and they're fighting, don't get along. God made that. I mean, there's kids that don't get along fighting in the car. We got a whole planet full of that. God can't fix that.
I don't think he's supposed to.
He just lets us all fight and kill each other.
Yeah.
Well, that's fucked up. I'm sorry. I have no clue that.
Well, how could you live a life full of choice, and then the goal would be to want to be more like God, right? That's the goal. He gives you an instructions. That's the goal.
Who nobody listens to.
Right, but that's why there's problems in the world. I think that don't take this the wrong way.
I won't.
Or that it's directed just at you.
It's okay.
Because I can turn, the mirror and look in the mirror, okay? I think that when people are really, really depressed, that they're thinking too much of themselves and not of something else higher than them or doing something for other people, in response to.
I will say when I get at my lowest, that's the first thing I think about is doing something for someone else.
That helps you get out of it probably, right?
It does help me get out of it. But it's a chemical thing. I think it's something to do with my check engine lights coming on.
There's a lot of truth to that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. And so you're saying that's separate from God. That's not a God thing.
So if God is my service manager, hey man, change my oil, big dude. I want to do good things, but I'm this little piece of shit Ford Pinto trying to run in the Indianapolis 500. I'm redlining, man.
All right, but what do you put in your body on a daily basis? You know, what do you put in your brain on a daily basis? How much do you exercise on a daily basis? You know, those are things that go back to choices. Okay, those right. So in my mind, I think that we all make bad choices based on what other people think we should do, and then expect someone else to fix the problem. That's what I think, you know, and maybe I'm way off on that.
I don't know.
And please give Dobie some love.
No,
and tell me to go to hell.
No. Yeah. Go to the comment section, Dobie. I'm getting the windshield wipers. There you go, windshield wipers.
So, okay.
But I think we got to bring the stuff like this up because I think it has come to the point where it is compacting and pressurizing so much it's going to blow.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think people all have this different idea of what it is. There's no uniform thing. People try to, now you're right, you were talking about God and not religion. Then religion comes along and tries to hurt them, and that makes it worse.
Well,
I
it
really
does.
think it does.
It does. I mean, even at the time of this taping right now, there's, you know, the Palestinians in Israel at odds again.
But again,
and that's over evictions. I don't want to get into that because, you know, that's over just differences in opinion.
The point is that's been going on for centuries, millennia.
Right.
Get along.
Right. Well, back to this. So back to proof of God.
Okay.
All right. Mm-hmm. Here's something that I found that was interesting. Okay. So the laws of probability. So I like math to prove different theories. I do. So, and I don't know much about math, but I like the idea of it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So these are all, you can research this yourself if you care to. I know you won't. There are 1,000.
That's why you're here.
There are 1,093 prophecies in the Bible that refer to Jesus and his church, and each one of those prophecies was fulfilled. Okay? The Old Testament contains 48 prophecies that pertain to the crucifixion of Jesus. When applying the laws of probability to calculate the likelihood of several events taking place at or near the same time, all probabilities have to be multiplied together. For example, if the probability of a single event occurring randomly is 1 chance in 5, and the probability of a separate event occurring is 1 chance in 10, then the probability of both events will occur together or in a sequence. That's 1 in 5 multiplied by 1 in 10, which yields 1 in 50. In considering the fact that several different prophets who lived in separate communities over a span of 1,000 years made predictions of Christ 500 years before his birth, the odds against these prophecies coming true are simply beyond our wildest comprehension. For example, the chances of one man, Jesus, fulfilling just 8 of the prophecies that were attributed to him are 1 in 10 to the 17th power. I'm just, you know, I'm blown away. And then there were 500 different accounts of seeing Jesus after his death. I think there's something to that. I really do. I really think there's something to that. And a lot of people just think the Bible is just junk. You do. You're one of those people, right?
I think it's a fairy tale book.
Okay.
And there are some stories in there that I think have some analogies to life. And I used to think it was the word of God, unbelievably, unequivocally. I don't think that anymore. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be blasphemous. I'm not trying to be rebellious and think I know it all. That's what I think. And my opinion has come a complete 180. And I almost apologize for it. I'm not going to be dishonest in how I think. What you said is true. If a train leaves Bethlehem Station at 9 o'clock in the morning, how does that affect the pain in our lives today?
Well, is this all there is?
Right now, yes.
But are we supposed to have faith? And are we supposed to be doing something
Cop
while
out
we're here?
number 2.
All right.
Oh, you got to have faith. Free will and faith, the 2 F words. There's your windshield wipers again. Free will and faith. Okay. How many times have people put the faith out there, got it smashed like a bug? And, you know, they're walking across the coals, and you burn your fucking feet. Not saying I'm right, not saying you're wrong. Maybe I've been burned my feet a few times, but I'm very skeptical when it comes to the faith. I don't have the faith. I see the fucking world in flames, and that takes my faith right down the shitter. I'm sorry.
You see it on TV. You don't see it in person.
Yes, I do.
Well, we don't have to get into our jobs.
Yeah.
So,
No, but honestly, truly, you know, jokes aside, there's a lot of hurt on a lot of levels. And sometimes it gets to be overwhelming. And I think you're a loving person because you came from shit. And I'm a loving person because I came from shit too, and I want to make it better. And I want to share my toys with people of all races and creeds and feed the hungry and heal the sick and all those things that I think a God would want. But it is so tough in this world, and I don't think it should be. I just don't. I think the world. If there is a God, if I love somebody, I don't have kids, and I was afraid to have children because I thought I would behave like my father, and my parents did. And it turns out if I would want them to have love, and I'd sacrifice, and you sacrifice for your kids. You think, okay, well, he sacrificed his son 2,000 years ago. Okay, Windows 7 has been updated. It doesn't work anymore. You think if there is the God that creates the universe, you'd say, okay, that was 2,000 years ago. Still fucked up. I need to do a reboot.
but that's time again. That's our time and our comprehension.
Would you not
of
agree
time.
if there's a God that looks down on the situation of the world and is like, holy shit, what did I do? This is it.
If you
Joe Biden is the answer. Oh, God. Tarantula Harris, she's great too. And Donald Trump with his fucked up hairstyle. And every one of those idiots that are the figurehead that are supposed to be the good people. That worked in generations past. The Roman emperor, the czars in Russia, who's ever in charge.
I know, but you're referring to all conventions. Everything you referred to is a convention or an idea, right?
Right.
Like, for instance, America is, 6% of the world's population. And we use 60% of the world's resources.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what I'm saying?
I think it should be 80.
But I don't
Why
think-
is that off?
What's that?
I think we are true. And if you're watching in another country, I mean no disrespect. It really is true. We're taught in our schools, America's the best, you're the greatest in the world. And you believe it, we didn't do shit.
And we're also taught to not talk about God in our schools or at work. So
Well, we
God's
used
been
to-
removed, and wow, look what's going on. God's been removed, and look what's happening look what's happening in the backfill spaces.
Now, here's what I will say. As being a non-smoker, I think you should be able to smoke in public places. And as a non-believer, I think you should be able to say the 10 Commandments or a prayer in school and all those things. And I know the separation of church and state is a very delicate issue, and I'm not trying to march on that. But if you want to go to church or family and have religion, I think you should be totally free to do that. And if that gets you over the hump, and I know a lot of really good people. There's a comedian friend of mine, I won't name his name, but he was a really down low in the alley drunk. And he found Jesus, and it turned his life completely around. And he came to me and said, if you ever want to talk about it, I'm not going to force it on you. You can talk. And I said, you know what? Don't wait by your phone, but I can see it changed your life. I'm never going to call you about that.
It did. It
And
changed my life.
And I respect you, and I
You know?
respect him, and I respect you watching if it changed your life. I think it is complete donkey shit. But that's me, and I don't want to think that.
Well, I'm not done yet. So
Please go, Max.
So let me ask you this.
Preach it, brother Max.
Let me ask you this. So, do you believe that we all have an innate sense of morality?
No. There are people that do not have morality. There are people that have no conscience, that are evil motherfuckers who would pull the wings off of flies and kill you and your family for $50 or less. And that's a big thing, too, that disturbs me about this planet.
Well, do you think that that's normal? Or
No.
is that like 1 in a million people like
But
that?
God created that person.
Okay.
Dud on the assembly line. Take it. Bang.
God created Satan too, right?
I don't believe in Satan either.
Okay. All right.
I would believe in Satan. I see more evidence of Satan in the world than I do of God.
Okay. Well, some people believe that he didn't create Satan. Okay, but Satan was an archangel, right?
If you believe the Bible.
If you believe the Bible.
And if you believe Star Wars, Luke Skywalker's father was Darth Vader. That's a story, too.
Which is also based kind of on the Bible.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Right.
Yeah, they did steal that from the Bible.
Anyway,
Lucas
yeah.
owes God a
Yeah.
royalty check.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So I think human life compels belief that truth, deception, love, hate, goodness, evil, etc., are all real and meaningful, and that has to come from somewhere. It had to have an origin. It had to come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ability that you think about all the things in this room right now and these cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What made that start from people sitting around a fire How did that just keep moving forward? You know, the thoughts to get to where we are right now. How did that just keep moving forward?
Well, if you believe the Bible, that we are created in his image. And if he is a creative entity, we in turn are creative entities. Sometimes we create evil. Sometimes we create good. Do you think a camera is good or evil by itself? No. What you do with it, that's where the good and evil is. And I think it's an intent.
But where good and evil come from?
The good and evil store. Give me a load of good.
Seriously.
I don't know. I do not know, Max.
But
I think, can there be one without the other? God, I wish there could. I vote when the mothership lands, I want to go to the good planet where the janitor gets laid and the poor people of color and oppression don't have to have that, where everybody truly is equal and loved and loving and happy.
That's what I want too, man. I think
But it ain't here.
Yeah, it's not.
Swing down, sweet chariot, stop and let me ride. The mothership, George Clinton, Parliament, Funkadelic. I want a spot on that mothership. I don't like it here. This is not my home planet. I never felt home here. And I don't know why I'm here. Maybe people, allegedly, we all chose this existence before there is some board of directors, and little Max, before he got to the girls, okay, this is going to be your dad, this is going to be your mom, you're going to have a whole line of shit, and these are the things you have to learn in your journey. Do you believe that? Not in the Bible.
I have a hard time with that.
I don't know.
That we select our life.
I had a real hard time when I first heard it, but a lot of people think it.
But if the goal is to be more godlike, taking religion out of it or borrowing from all religions, if the goal or the central theme is to be more godlike, then we have to get into the laboratory and do some work. We can't just
But
ding.
nobody's showing us what to do.
I think there's a book that shows us what to do.
Okay, I saw the movie. Charlton Heston didn't have the answers.
I
There's
do.
a book. Theist, thouist, they're a fuck up. Get your head out of your asseth.
Okay.
Do something productive.
But let me ask you this. Is that a good way to live?
What is a good way to live?
Let's take the New Testament, for example. Are there some instructions there on how to live a good life?
Turn the other cheek so they can smack the shit out of that one too. You're putting me in a quandary here, and I'm not saying I have all the answers. I don't know. All I'm saying is a lot of people are hurting, and they don't know where to go for answers. And it's not a 2,000-year-old book written in a language that's not even spoken on the planet anymore. That's what frustrates the hell out of me. And I'm sorry it does, Max. Again, I'm glad we're talking about this because I know people are watching on both sides of this argument. And I'm not trying to be mean or pompous or
Hey,
condescending.
this is your show, man. You don't have to apologize.
No, it's our show.
I know, but
and it's our watcher show.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, I apologize to myself because I was taught completely the opposite, and I just fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And one day I woke up and my consciousness said, wrong, wrong. This is not. That does not compute. I'm just being honest with you.
Right.
As the lightning bolt goes,
Right.
and you need a new partner for our next broadcast.
Right. Right. But
Max
but
and
you
Herbie.
but you also struggle. Every day is
On
a struggle.
daily basis.
Okay. But you're trying to fix it on your own, assuming that there isn't anybody that can help you.
I have begged the big G, to help me out. Give me a little clue. Not in a book that's 2,000 years old. Maybe that's a person that can help you. And I try to plug in the consciousness and all that weird woo-woo shit.
The book's actually older than 2,000 years. It was written over 1,500 years. But okay, I understand what you're saying.
Point taken. I'm not mocking what you're saying. I think there's a currency here that is just missing. And a lot of people are not choosing to go there. There are not leadership. You think God would say, blow the whistle. Okay, time out, second half, let's reboot. Would you agree that the world needs a reboot?
I think we're getting the reboot. I think we're in the process of the
Wow,
reboot
how do
right
you
now.
Okay.
No, I really do.
I'm okay.
I think we're being forced to reevaluate everything all over the world right now. I really do.
How do you think it's going to change?
I think that good's going to prevail. I really do believe that.
Well, this boils on to professional wrestling, which is good versus evil, and in the end, good usually does prevail in the storyline of pro wrestling.
I believe most people are good, Dobie. I really do.
I wouldn't disagree with you there, but I think the majority of the worst bastards get in control and make it bad for everybody.
Well, okay. Are you talking about in businesses, like in your business, the entertainment industry? Because yeah, there's a lot of assholes in that business.
No, yeah, that every business. You got a day job. Radio, we were in broadcasting. Oh, a lot of saintly people in that business.
There were a lot of good people we met. We both know.
I understand that, and they're all in the. It seems to be in the us versus them. You know, the workers versus the leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the leaders. There were some good ones. We didn't work for many of them. I mean, the bastards stick out, I guess. And once in a while, I don't know if it's random. Okay, a couple gets married. You don't know what you're getting. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the onion peels, or the layers of the onion peel over the years. Same thing in business, same thing in life. The layers of the onion of the planet over thousands of years, as long as humanity has been here, has been rotten to the core. There's always been wars. There has always been the depth of shit, and it has never gotten better. And I'm disturbed about that.
You don't think it's gotten better?
No, I don't.
Wow. I think if we sat here, we wouldn't even have to do it on tape, but I think if we sat here and really thought about everything in history, I think everything's gotten better. Everything. And I think it's still getting better. But I think that we live in a society where we're focused on each other and not focused on a God and not focused on doing what's right. I do. I feel like we are so quick to say what's wrong with others and with the world and not really recognizing all the miracles that are around us all the time. Every single day. There's a blessing. I used to tell my kids, you know, when our family went through a rough time, and I borrowed this, I think, from Brian Tracy, is where I read it years ago. When our family was going through a rough time, I used to tell the kids, something wonderful is going to happen today. Look out for it. Spot it. SW, something wonderful is going to happen today. Something wonderful is going to happen today. That was the message. And then at supper, when we get back together, I'd say, well, what was it? You know, in the beginning, it was like, I don't know. Yeah, because they're so programmed that they don't notice it. Still to this day, I will get a text every now and then from my daughter or my son, SW, exclamation point, you know, because they've learned to look for something that's good. We're focused on so much of the bad that we block all the concept of God completely out. Like there's no possibility, you know, this just happened and it's all shit and that's just the way it is. Well, that to me, it's like, well, why go on? What's the point? What would be the point to go on if that's true? And then what's the point of life without a higher power and a creator? What would be the point? I don't have an answer for that. It's a rhetorical question, but what is the point?
You changed my mind, Max. I've been saved. Hallelujah. I will see you. No, you know what? You make some very valid points. And the whole reason we started this particular show was to look at the positives. And I think that is absolutely, I couldn't think of a better way to end this particular episode.
Okay.
But I think what you said is absolutely magnificent. And it is easy to get in that rut. This sucks. That's shit. That's wrong. You're totally right. And it's a conscious effort every day to look for that SW.
Well,
hopefully you watching this will take it, because I've taken it. I do listen to what you say, and I do think that we can change and improve. I just think there's some rotten at the core.
I think
of the whole picture.
I agree with you. And
I want them off my planet.
But I am
Get
not
off my planet.
Right, I get it. But I am not focused on that. When I focus on God, who I believe in, when I focus on doing things for others, when I focus on, you know, looking for the good in people and recognizing that, you know, you and I both could quickly come up with people in our lives that were evil, right?
You know who you are.
But when I focus on the fact that they too might be hurting when they hurt me, when I focus on the fact that we don't respond to people how they are, we respond to people how we are. When I focus on that, it gets easier to believe that there's a God. It really does. And, you know, there's conclusive evidence. I mean, I could read another study to you, but I'll paraphrase it.
Thank you, George Gallup, for your poll. No, you make a good point, man.
When you talk about people who are believers in a church body, not talking about religion, specific religion, but just believers and followers in a community versus those who are not. Life expectancy is different. Ohio State University. I have it right here. If anybody wants the study, go ahead and message us. But there's evidence that everything in your life is extended just by believing and being in a community of believers and leaning on others when you're having the worst time.
Okay, I'm going to time out with you.
Okay.
Not disagreeing with you. As dented cans, we grow up in situations which are less than ideal, and I think that we naturally have a tendency to not trust people. So if I don't trust the people that are supposed to be the closest to me, my original family, how am I going to go to a room full of strangers who have bake sales every month and trust them to make me feel better? It's hard. It's theory versus reality. I'm not saying you're wrong. I have a hard time with that. I don't trust anybody. Every woman I've ever dated more than twice has said, you told me today off air, you're in a box. You don't let people help you. You don't let people inside. I'll admit that you're not wrong. After all the times you keep pounding on my heart, I have to protect myself. I'm not saying that's the right way. I'm just saying it's a natural reaction.
No, I get it. I get it because I've known you for quite a while now, and I understand it. I understand it from your perspective. Mm-hmm. I don't have the same view of the world. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The reason I trust you and respect you is I know you have been through the shit. You have walked through those coals.
I have.
You have been Tim Robbins in Shawshank Redemption, swimming through the 500 yards of raw shit.
Right. I'm working on a sailboat right now too.
Yes. And I see these people, the Joel Osteens, who we'll talk about in some episode down the road with this smarmy little teeth and the hair, whose daddy gave him everything, who I want to ball up my fist and club him like a baby seal.
I love you, Joel.
An insincere piece of low-life maggot shit. But that is the first impression that I get. That is the vibe that comes off of me. He could be the nicest guy in the world, and I never read his books. He just sends off a vibe that makes me want to kick him in the nuts.
Because
we don't
respond to people how they are. We respond to people how we
so
are.
All that things are, I am that low-life piece of maggot shit. I guess I'm that. Sorry, Joel. You're a millionaire with a hot wife, and I'm across a ping pong table from Max Bumgarner. And I'm proud to be here because you're my friend, and I love you, and I respect you.
All right. Well, we've been accused. We made a promise early on when we first started taping this show that both of you watch, that we would end on a positive. And so far, we haven't ended on a positive.
No, you said a lot of positive things there. And the focus on the SWs, that's the positive I take away from it, buddy. And I do listen to you. And again, we joke around and we kid. I mean, I want to hug you listening and watching this because we're hitting on topics that I know there's more than two that watch. The people that watch, do you talk about me? I know my friends and people.
Yeah,
do you talk about me?
We're talking about you.
Talking about you. You got to keep watching because we're going to talk about you. And it's like if we don't laugh a little bit and open this stuff up in a healthy way, we're all going to kill each other. We're all going to choke in our own shit. No, I don't want that. Let's enjoy the good part. SW. I love it, Max.
Yeah, and here's what. I'll end on a positive since I'm more positive. Dobie, go ahead and say how you feel about Joel again. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I want to have lunch with Joel Osteen.
Do you want to close?
I just want to say that life is what it is, and we choose to look at it how we do and from our circumstances. And we sure don't have all the answers here, but we're trying to open things up and end on a positive. And you're watching it is a very positive thing. So we didn't conclude it. There is a guy, G-Man. I can use a couple bucks. If not, subscribe to our channel. Hit like if you liked it. Have some comments, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm now in charge of the comments, so I'll read every one of them and I'll get back to you. And there's nothing you can say. We're bulletproof that it's going to not stop us from doing what we're doing.
And now that he's done, I would like to say there is a God, and He does love you, and you were created to do something with your life. So when you get really down and you feel like there's no purpose, that's when you need to lean into something else, not yourself. Don't just try to rationalize everything in the world to your level of understanding, because it's not going to happen.
I need someone to bless me when I sneeze. We'll be back. This is the Dented Cast. Thank you.